Cooking safely, yes. Right, yeah. That's my final answer. Cooking safely. I'm terrible.
I'm a straight donation station in Jupiter.
If you're low on cash, Paul saw him.
Give us a moment at peak. Give us a moment. Right in the middle. What a birdie.
Go, squeeze.
Can we just please stop saying this a moment ago?
Subtle signs that you're playing with a stick.
A bag? You want me to be intimidated by a f***ing bag? What is up, golf sickos? I'm here in the studio. My man Ben Boscovich is sitting there in the chair here in the studio. It is a massive, massive show. There's no reason hiding from it. It's a big show.
It was a great week.
It was a great week.
It was a fun weekend.
It was a fun weekend.
Awesome Saturday.
Yeah, the
awesome
Oscars
Sunday.
stunk.
Yeah.
I turn on the Oscars for 5 minutes and it's just political and I turn it off. Let's just watch an award show. All right, we're talking golf today. Huge players recap show. We got our 18 parting thoughts, so we're going to go through. I've got 18 of them. I had about 30, but we had to narrow it down to 18. I have a lot of thoughts going through this brain. We're going to talk about Cameron Young, a breakout win. We're going to talk about Ludvig Aberg. Crazy, crazy Florida swing it's been so far. Our boy Andy, our producer, off screen here. He had quite a good sort of diagnosis for the Florida swing. I said, Shane Lowry collapsed, Daniel Berger had some issues, Ludvig Aberg collapsed, and he said, lot of water in Florida golf. So let's start, before we get into the 18 parting thoughts, we watch the show, we do the watch along. So we watch the Sunday broadcast on mute. So we don't really get to hear a lot of the broadcast. And by a lot of it, I mean, we don't hear any of it. So we also don't hear the crowd noise. But in the chat, people were starting to say, that there was some boos out there. There was some USA chants. And Matt Fitzpatrick was asked about this after the round. He finished second. It was a sort of a mini Ryder Cup situation, I guess you could call it that, with Cameron Young. We tried. Usually in the Ryder Cup, you get some emotion. Those are two of probably the most flatline players on the PGA Tour. Cameron Young, I think, smiled once yesterday. But they asked Fitzpatrick about it after the round, and here it is.
Listen, the crowd, that was literally child's play compared to Bethpage. So, if they think that was anything, then they need to reassess, get yourself up to New York. But listen, that's how it is. That's how it is. I would hope it's the exact same. Well, it probably wouldn't be because we're a little bit more polite in Europe, I would say. But I would hope it would be a similar intensity in Europe.
No harm, no foul for me. When other countries get behind their players, it's celebrated. We just happen to have more events in the United States because the tour is here in the United States. And it sounds like it wasn't anything crazy. I mean, it's not the reason that Fitzpatrick bogeyed 18. It wasn't like in his backswing. Like when he said it wasn't anything personal, it was they were getting behind an American. I don't really have an issue with it. Like that's... You would hope that when a player plays in their home country, they get support. And if it was roles reversed and they were playing in England and the crowd was really behind Matt, I wouldn't have an issue with that either. What do you think?
Loud positivity in the direction of the guy you're rooting for is completely legal. That's a good way to get in the guy you're not rooting for's head without being a dick about it. Golf is such a mental game that the minute you start talking to the guy you're not rooting for, trying to get in his head as if you're on the side of the ropes that you wish you were, that's when it becomes a problem. In basketball, soccer, all these things, the fans are yelling and screaming the whole time. You might yell something at LeBron when he's about to take a three.
He can't hear you.
It's not really going to affect
Well, there's
him.
an expectation of silence in golf, and the crowd is right there.
And the golfer needs it.
Right, and we've been to Sawgrass, and they're right on the road.
Oh, yeah.
So, you say something to Matt, he's going to hear it. So I have no problem with the support for Cameron Young.
Yeah.
If they're booing Fitz, are we really going to hand-wring about that? It's probably not my favorite, but, I don't know. Golf is growing. There's more people that are there. It's definitely got a little bit more fire. You're anti-booing.
I'm anti-booing ahead of the shot or trying to say fuck you or I don't want you to win, something of that nature before the guy's trying to prepare to hit a very important shot in his career. It's would you say that? I think about bowling.
Okay,
you're about to roll the ball down the lane. If right before you're about to focus, somebody says something to you, that will affect you, as opposed to the other sports. Metaphor.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference is how close the crowd is, but yeah, I mean, it's
such a mental sport.
Respect
it.
I guess I see. I mean,
but positivity, screaming.
Yeah,
from the rooftop.
Getting behind Cameron Young, not an issue, but I would agree that booing a player before they hit or whatever, probably not great.
Yeah,
but we'll move into our first parting thought. We have to start with Cameron Young. So Cameron Young has always been a kind of stop you in your tracks on the range guy. The pause at the top, the raw power, the perfect balance. He's been kind of almost a Met section when I was back living in New York, a Met section cult hero ever since he shot 64 at Bethpage Black in the New York State Open as a teenager. Then came a really quick race through the Korn Ferry Tour. He got really hot on the Korn Ferry Tour. And then early success on the big tour, particularly in the major championships. In 2022, he finished top 3 in 2 of the 4 majors, including a solo second at the 150th Open at St. Andrews. Everyone thinks of that as Rory versus Cam, but it was actually the other Cam Young, who finished second. And then there were 2 more top 10s in majors in 2023 also, but then there was a slight dip in form. He missed the Ryder Cup in 2023, and he became a bit of a punching bag on golf Twitter, a guy who had all the tools, who just couldn't get it in the house on Sunday. That is no longer the case. That is no longer the case. I saw he's up to number 4 in the world, number 5 on Data Golf. So we always talk about the difference. The numbers say the same thing. And he broke through majorly. First, it was the win at the Wyndham Championship last summer. Then he kept up the strong play through the playoffs, get the captain's pick for the Ryder Cup. People might forget how, he was one of the only Americans on that Friday and Saturday at Bethpage Black that actually showed some life. So much so that Keegan Bradley sent him out first in singles, which is a big thing for a rookie. New York at home, when the U.S. desperately needed momentum, and he delivered. He holed a putt on the final hole for a 1-up victory over Justin Rose, and now he's a winner of the crown jewel of the PGA Tour, and he did so in really macho fashion. So it was a gutsy par on 16. He hits it in the middle of the fairway. He's like 250 in. He pulls kind of a pull hook with his approach shot, and it plugs in a bunker. It plugs in that bunker short left of 16, 63 yards to the hole with water long. Just a nightmare shot.
It's the worst shot.
Really a scary fucking shot. He did really well. Kind of dumped it middle of the green, 2-putted, and then Fitzy played first on 17, and he played to the middle of the green, and Cam Young was a little bit more aggressive with his, and he hooped that 9-footer, dripped it right in the middle, and then he gave himself a little bit of a talking to before the 18th tee. Let's roll that clip.
And then, the one on 18, I mean, my thought process over that ball is, 1, making sure that I'm committed to my line. And 2 is the overarching thought is, I'm going to hit the best shot of my life right here. Yeah, it's a scary tee shot. And to have hit that one in that moment, that's pretty good.
It was the best tee shot in the history of the 18th hole, at least since they've been tracking these things on ShotLink. 375 yards right down Main Street, but the job wasn't finished. The wind was really starting to whip on 18, and the pin on 18 was a nasty one. It was way back. Usually we're used to seeing that kind of front left one. It was way back over a ridge, and we saw so many guys go long. And then it was a really dicey 2-putt from over. He had 100 yards in, only 100 yards in. It is so easy to just dump that shot into the middle of the green, leave yourself a really tough 2-putt, or with all of the adrenaline, to hit it just a little bit too hard, add a little speed at the bottom, you land it pin high, it rolls over, and then you're in trouble, and you're scrambling for his par. He got it all the way back there, landed on top of the ridge. It finished just like a inch over the green into the back fringe, but it left a very, very simple 2-putt. And when Matt Fitzpatrick couldn't make his 8-footer to tie, it was a tap-in for the victory.
There was an underrated chess match happening there with those approach shots where, was Fitz going to lay up or was he going to try to do something heroic? And then what position did that put Cam in?
Right.
It was kind of sweet to watch them make decisions in unison that way.
It was definitely a match play situation. I mean, it was once Ludvig collapsed, and we're going to get to that in a second, they made a kind of a big deal of, they're going to let the fans on the fairway on 18 for the final group. Turns out the final group, really the penultimate group was the final group. By the time those guys were on 14 or 15, it was the two of them, and they were dueling. I mean, they were both hitting it they were not missing tee
playing
shots.
A different game than the other two guys.
Yeah, they were, and I said from early on, I felt like Matt was playing the best. He made a double bogey on 18 that was really kind of fluky on Saturday, but I felt like he was at most in control of his ball. We did see something flip when he went from being the chaser to the chased. It just felt like the putts weren't solid, the ball striking wasn't good. He had a pull on 16 off the tee. He had a push on 18 off the tee. We saw that mindset flip, but you're 100% right. Matt took a long time over that second shot on 16, and we were saying, well, is he going to lay up or is he going to go for it? He went halfway.
Yeah.
It was kind of a half go for it, half layup, and he hit a pretty damn good shot.
Yeah.
Gives me serious anxiety that guy's still chipping cross-handed with these big tournaments on the line, but he's been doing it for years and years. It was a macho big-time finish from Cameron Young, and I feel like he's starting to deliver on that natural ability. He has all the tools. I mean, you don't have that many high finishes in majors at such a young age without being a serious player, and a win like this can really, we're going to use a big time golf cliche here. It can open the floodgates, right?
If any win was going to open the floodgates, this was the one for him, not the Wyndham.
Right. It changes the narrative around Cameron Young. He's no longer, really, really talented, but Rick Gehman picked him 30-1. And I said, does he have the stones to win this tournament? Which I felt was a fair question in the moment. Like, he hadn't closed out a tournament like this.
He answered that question.
He answered that question big time. All right. You know who did not answer that question? Ludvig Aberg. I was actually talking to him a little bit this morning about Liverpool. He was in good spirits. He was fine. He was upset, obviously, but he was fine. He said, I'll get them next time. And then we talked about soccer. I still think Ludvig has bigger than golf star potential. One of these guys who can break through. And in order to do that, to become that level of a star, you need to win on golf's biggest stages. Playing your part in a couple Ryder Cups is good. It's not enough. Winning the Sanderson Farms or the Genesis, which he won.
Even the Genesis.
Great, not enough. It takes a statement win to elevate into that category. We're talking Rory. We're talking, Tommy. We're talking Scottie. Xander. Justin Thomas. Guys that the general public is really familiar with. I thought it was going to be this week. It seemed like the stage was set. At home, he's got a couple shot lead, lives in Jacksonville, and he hung tough through the front nine. Didn't have his best, but maintained a 2-shot lead. And then came another episode of the 2026 Florida Swing disaster. We've seen a lot of them. A miss hit into the water on the par 5 11th, wasn't even close, and then a pull hook into the drink again on 12. His chances were toast. Here's Ben and I watching it on the watch along. All right, here's Ludvig. Looks like a hybrid. Maybe a 5-wood. It's high, it's cutting. Is it cutting too much? Is that going to catch a bunker? Is that going to catch a bunker or the water? No! Wow! Fucking close.
Big caught the water.
Splash on 11. We have ourselves a tournament. That's what I was saying about TPC Sawgrass. Every single fucking hole, there's drama. Ludvig hit this tee shot in the water when he was with me.
Light the candle!
And he did it again.
That was brilliant timing on that.
And he did it again.
Oh my God. Holy shit, dude. Wet, back to back.
Buddy,
I think he's swinging too hard.
I'm in shock, dude. This is bringing Shane Lowry to mind. That thing never had a chance.
No, that was a yank. That was a Yankee Doodle.
And you were saying that, with how robotic his swing can look at times, it's jarring when he hits shots that far offline.
Yeah, it's almost, you expected like a stick to the plan round out of Ludvig. I did not think he would shoot over par. I thought he would shoot 72 or 71, win the tournament with ease, because that's how he plays the game. And I said it there in that clip. From my expert opinion, I think he was swinging a little too hard. He was trying to get after it.
He does get fast. And I talked to him a lot about this when I was caddying for him. He does the box breathing to try to slow himself down, which is, I think it's 4 breaths in, hold for 4 breaths, 4 breaths out, hold for 4 breaths. And it just slows you down. But what he said was, it's not just my swing. Obviously he's a fast player. Not just my swing that gets fast. I start walking fast. I start pulling clubs fast. I start swinging fast. I start breathing fast. And it sure seemed like it got away from him in a hurry.
What I won't blame him for is the aggressive lines that he seemed to take, whether he meant to or not. At times, like, I've heard some stuff this morning about if he would have played it a little more safe. Even I'm kind of like saying that. Every guy that is trying to become great on the PGA Tour right now is chasing one person's aura. And that guy never didn't look at a pin. That guy,
about Tiger?
That guy was aggressive.
Yeah.
Famously aggressive.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think Tiger won a lot of tournaments by shooting 2 under in the final round, and playing to the fat part of greens. He very rarely short-sided himself. I understand what you're saying.
What about when he was chasing and those times where he's talking about I saw it in my eyes and I could make birdies on the back nine to win?
I think that you have to play to the person that you are. And Ludvig, and I go back to that, round that I caddied for him at TPC Sawgrass, which we did on the bag. You should watch a YouTube video. He always said, I can live with mistakes if they're aggressive mistakes.
I like that.
I don't like playing conservative. I don't like feeling like I bailed out. He definitely didn't bail out. He was going for it on 11. He was going for it on 12. So it's a tough one for him to swallow for sure, but he still has that major breakout star potential. He's tall. He's handsome. He's a very handsome fellow. He's got a delightful comportment on the golf course. I saw an interview with Rory McIlroy where they asked him, what do you admire about Ludvig's game? And he says he seems like he's always smiling out there. He seems like he really finds a lot of joy in playing. He's got obviously a refreshing pace of play and an aspirational golf swing. I thought the leap was going to be this week. I also thought it was going to be last year after he won at Torrey Pines. I think I said, if the next person to unseat Scottie Scheffler as the #1 player in the world is Ludvig Aberg. Still could be true because Scottie's been there for so damn long. But it wasn't to be. But here's the thing. Golf journeys are rarely linear. right? And Scottie Scheffler, we're going to get into this a little bit later in the show. He reminded us this week. In the media, our expectations are on a week-to-week cadence, but the players themselves are a lot more patient. And after the round, Ludvig said, obviously I'm disappointed about today, but I'm really happy with where my golf game is at. I think everyone in the media is about to say, I'm just crushed, I'm just defeated. These guys, one of the reasons that they're able to be the best players in the world is because they can detach a little bit from a 3-hole stretch where everything came and said, look, I played 68 really awesome holes. My game is right there. So yeah, they have patience, even the ones who play really, really fast like Ludvig. TPC Sawgrass, man, just the epitome of a golf tournament venue. It was created with big-time golf in mind, and it is the ultimate venue for the best players in the world. So I was texting with Patrick Rogers, finished tied for 11th, by the way.
Great finish.
Great finish. He said, the place is amazing. It's kicked my butt my whole career, and I still love it. You have to be good at everything to play well. Look at this place. The colors pop on television. The sharp lines. I loved the thick rough this week. There was a penalty for missing. There's disaster lurking everywhere. Like on a lot of golf courses, you can get away with a mishit because you just find it, you chip out, you make your bogey. There's so many double bogeys to be had at TPC Sawgrass. Every single hole. The Spanish moss on the trees, the variety, and the crescendo on 16, 17, and 18 might be the best 3-hole finish in golf. There's 66 out there, but there are plenty of 76s too. I mean, Ludvig shot 63 in the first round, and I think he shot 75 in the last round. And it might even be better in person. So the stadium in its name, the stadium course, not just the name. It's a stadium. Like the areas surrounding the holes are typically elevated, so players you can see what's going on. Look at that. Like you see how it's an upslope behind 16 and behind 17. So all of those people are standing there and they can see everything in front of them. Jacksonville always turns out big time for the event. It's pretty easy to get to the course. It's pretty easy to get around once you're there. There just isn't a better venue for a professional golf tournament. What do you think?
I'm always amazed by the turnout at Sawgrass, the beauty of Sawgrass. I also, Alan wrote about this in his Gamer yesterday, but it's holding true to Pete Dye's original vision for what it was supposed to be for these guys, which is, few and far between probably in the year 2026 in golf.
How good was, we saw the first 6 events on the tour, were 20 under winning scores, which in my opinion is
utter woke nonsense.
And we got was it 13 under winner, 15 under last week? It was it played tough.
They're slowing down.
It wasn't just a birdie fest. It was a great week. Not for Rory McIlroy though. So Rory McIlroy had a back injury. Not sure if you heard. Actually, I am sure you heard because it was covered more than fucking Watergate. It's an inevitable reality, I guess, of a 24-hour channel dedicated to golf and golf only. But the wall-to-wall, breathless coverage of Rory McIlroy's tweak back, it gave me a good laugh this week. It was a lot. I think the 3-piece suits that they were all wearing didn't help, but it was just so serious. It was, I have just received a text message from a member of Rory McIlroy's team. Rory will likely not play a practice round at the Players' Championship. And then it was Rory has arrived here on site. Then they were doing the thing where they have a camera on Rory and Harry just eating lunch as though that was going to give us any sort of information. And I might be cutting off my nose to spite my face here. I am also part of golf media, but I feel like we try to keep things light here in the Dan on Golf universe. But there are definitely stories that call for a certain tone, like the Gary Woodland PTSD story. Even Ryan Fox having a kidney stone. But Rory dealing with a slight back tweak, come on. And it continued into his pre-tournament media availability on Wednesday. Let's roll that clip.
Are you in pain now, Rory, just standing there?
No.
Only when you swing, or?
And I wouldn't even call it pain. I would say just more like sensitivity. And it's not really on the site, or it's sort of more like the big Mike, even just hitting balls there for a little bit, just feel like my muscles around the area just getting a little bit fatigued.
So if you do decide to play, obviously Harry's been out here doing great work for you, but how do you wrap your mind mentally around the fact that you now also have to play in the Players' Championship?
Yeah, I've been playing here since 2009, so it's not like I don't know the place.
How important is it that you could potentially aggravate it?
It's not. There's nothing. It's not structural. It's not joint. It's not. It's fine. It's just it's purely muscular sort of discomfort and fatigue.
Rory's way too nice to say this, but what he was really saying there was, I'm fine, guys. Calm the fuck down.
Shut up. Yeah.
Like it was just like they were trying to make it into this like big like what a brave, you know, you're putting your career on the line. He's like, I tweaked my back, like I'm gonna be okay.
He told him exactly, like I think his description of what was going on was like more than we could ever ask for.
Yeah.
He was like, it's just sensitive. He described it in detail. Like, all right, take it.
Yeah, just take
He's gonna play.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to like pull out. Like he's lying. Like, oh man, like this guy's Tiger now. Like
right.
he actually had a fused back overnight.
Yeah, he's the new Ben Hogan. You know, he's putting his career. You know, Allen had a line. We're talking a lot about Allen. Fucker. He had a line where, you know, in the NFL they say like what's a crisis on the PGA Tour? We call that a Tuesday in the NFL.
Yeah, Paul Hicks said that.
Is that what he said? I mean,
Paul,
it's the same thing. It's like the guy tweaked his back. He played.
I chalk it up to a sickness that probably we have in common with the people asking that question. It's just like, we love this shit. We just want to know everything. Like, you get a chance to talk to Rory, it's like you get a little excited.
Very
I'm being
excited.
very nice.
Yeah, you are being very nice. I'll leave that to you. You're the nice guy on this show. Brian Rolapp, I don't know if he's a nice guy. He's definitely a decisive guy. I'm not saying he's not nice. I was just me trying to make a segue. But count me among the deceived. So walking into Brian Rolapp's press conference, I sure as hell thought that he would just declare the players a major championship, right? Why else would the tour launch the March Will Be Major campaign if it didn't intend to just kind of put its thumb on the scale? It was the opposite. Rolapp began his press conference with an opening statement that was dripping in self-awareness. Let's roll it.
We take a lot of pride in the players. And with all the major talk, some may say even too much pride. Ultimately, that is not for us to decide.
We have a new applause. Wow. You know, the old PGA Tour would have ignored public sentiment, which, to be clear, the public sentiment is the Players is an amazing tournament, but it's not a major. And they would have just made an eye-rolling declaration. It would have been, you know, taken itself extremely seriously and gone for the heavy-handed approach, you know. The PGA Tour, at the end of the day, does not own the four majors or the Ryder Cup. It's an uncomfortable reality that definitely irks the leadership of the PGA Tour. But Rolapp is a pragmatic leader. He knows that you can't just wave your hands and change minds. It was a great week for Brian Rolapp. And that opening statement was a window into his humility as a leader. You know, I'm not just going to sit here and say that like the sky is red when all the fans know the sky is not red. And it was also a willingness to delegate. He was like, you know, the marketing department did a great job with that. Drive up interest in the tournament and discussion around it. Mission accomplished. But my favorite part of the Brian Rolapp press conference was when he said that the PGA Tour is done with limited field, no-cut events. Here's a quote that I loved so much from Rolapp. The sports business is not that hard. Just think like a fan, and 9.5 times out of 10, that's probably the right answer. Yes. And this is what made the Tour's 2022 decision to create limited field, no-cut events so puzzling. It was always a very transparent overreaction to LIV Golf. The PGA Tour now is done, it seems like, reacting to LIV Golf. They've put daylight between the models again. But their justifications when they went to this no-cut model, they never really held water. It said, you know, fans want to see the stars around for the weekend. Sure, I guess, but like, do they really? And there's rebuttals to that. Stars don't really miss cuts. That's why they're stars. And is the marginal benefit of a fan being able to watch Justin Thomas go through the motions after shooting 76, 74, does that outweigh the narrative benefit of keeping the cut? The cut is part of the magic of pro golf. The simple fact that Scottie Scheffler and the last man on the field both start at even par, and if they don't beat half the guys for the first two rounds, they're going home with nothing in their pocket. It's a tournament within the tournament. We saw this a couple weeks ago when Scottie had a 6-foot putt at Riviera to make the cut, and he fist pumped. That would never happen if there was no cut. And the cut is a key differentiator from LIV. That's like, this is a serious competition. You know, you play on the PGA Tour, it's going to be 100. You're going to play against 119 of the other best players in the world, and there's going to be a cut after 36 holes. It's the same format as it is in the major championships. My guy Allen, again, wrote beautifully about this for Scratch this week. He said, it is about missing the cut. It is a brutal repudiation, the equivalent of getting benched for the second half of a big game. But in this case, the player can't blame a coach. The letdown is entirely of their own making. Says Keegan Bradley, I just really love this tournament, and like to not play the weekend would be gross. For Aaron Rai, the Friday grind had nothing to do with the decadence of the player's purse. Personally speaking, It doesn't matter whether you're playing for 100,000 or 25 million, it's irrelevant. You try to bring your best every time you compete, and when that doesn't happen, it stings. Missing the cut is just the hard truth that you didn't perform. And I think 99% of guys will say the same no matter what they've done in the game. So yeah, that was my favorite piece of news from the Rolapp press conference. It was this pledge to move away from the 75-player no-cut events. I think there's 5 of them right now. The Player Invitational still have a cut, but it's like a charity cut. There's like 80 players and only like 20 miss the cut. We're done with that. We're going back to 120 players with a cut in every event, and the cut streak will also make it a lot cleaner for record keeping. Like, we know that if you make cuts now, what that actually means. But I think the big takeaway from that is the PGA Tour is officially done trying to react to live golf. They're focused on their own product, and that product is at its best with 100+ player fields and a cut. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Now, if you go to live, it's like, okay, you're opting to play 50 against 56 players with no cut every single week. If you stay on the PGA Tour, it's the tried and true format of tournament golf. But when they went to these limited field, a lot of no cut events, it was kind of like, well, they're not the same thing anymore.
Stronger test.
Stronger test.
I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
Do you think, though, that it was a necessary speed bump in the journey to have those no-cut events at the time that they were introduced? Like, I guess, put a different way.
No.
Were they successful in any way in staving off exits to live or any of that kind of stuff?
It was about the money, right? So it was about
reparations for the players that didn't go.
Yeah, it was about driving up the money for players who didn't go. But I still think you could have had, 20 million. You're still handing out the same amount of money. You're only handing out money to, 50 guys or whatever it is. Just keep the 120 players and keep a cut.
So not necessarily the correct solution to that problem.
I understand that they needed to make, and they would say, oh, this was part of getting sponsors on was the guaranteeing all of the players there all 4 days. I don't think that the sponsors would have said, oh, well, we're not paying if there's a cut. I just think going away from the cut was a mistake. And I think also, he was talking about Brian Rolapp's humility. Part of being a leader and part of his advantage of not being Jay Monahan, right, is he doesn't look hypocritical when he goes and does that.
Yeah.
He can say, I came in, I saw this no cut thing. I talked to the players. I don't like it. I don't think it's good for us. I think it's better because now the PGA Tour, you can say what you want about LIV, but they clearly have like the second best talent pool. You could say that the PGA Tour has a markedly different format, a markedly harder format. The tournaments are harder to win. They're a harder test. They're more stressful. So I think it was an absolute victory.
I love it.
So we talked about some bad stuff that came from the LIV situation. One of the best things might be the PGA Tour University. So if limited fields and no cuts were the worst, the PGA Tour University may be the best. It never made much sense to not have a link between the collegiate ranks and the professional game, particularly now when college golf is so advanced. We see having a sub 70 scoring average in college used to be like impossible. There's like only a couple guys who've done it. It's now like an average for the best players. And so are, 30, 40, $50 million facilities. College golf is an incredible feeder. It's like that and the Korn Ferry Tour. But necessity is the mother of invention, and the battle for young talent forced the PGA Tour to incentivize the best college players to stay within their ecosystem. Now, the initial PGA Tour University program, if you won it, you only got a Korn Ferry Tour card. They changed that in 2023. So the first guy to go straight to the PGA Tour was Ludvig Aberg. Without that boost, who knows if he makes the Ryder Cup? Who knows how his career develops? The second guy to go straight to the PGA Tour was Michael Thorbjornsen. The final pairing on Sunday in the PGA Tour's flagship event, Ludvig Aberg and Michael Thorbjornsen. A full circle moment and also a nod to the youth. I was told that the game is getting younger was a 4-year-old take. Oh, that's not really a take anymore. Look at the winners since Justin Rose won. I think Nico Echeverria is the oldest by a couple of years. There's been a ton of guys in their 20s.
At 29.
Yeah. Speaking of guys in their 20s, no one's too young for a back injury anymore.
Oof.
Just more back issues on tour from guys who are not old. So Justin Thomas missed the first chunk of the season after a micro discectomy procedure in the fall. Rory McIlroy had to withdraw from Bay Hill with a back injury.
Heard about that.
Yeah, we heard about that one. So did Jake Knapp. Obviously, Will Zalatoris has been struggling with the back. And this week we saw Colin Morikawa, all of 29 years old, fresh off a big victory and leading the FedEx Cup, withdraw after tweaking his back during a practice swing on the second hole of the day. Now, back injuries are nothing new in golf, but it sure seems like they're happening to young guys more often. Maybe it's a coincidence, or maybe it's a product of the modern golf swing and the game's emphasis on speed. Either way, you hate to see it. I wanted to bring on Dr. Ara Suppiah because he actually knows a lot more about this than I do, and I wanted to ask him the same questions that I've been asking myself. How are you, doctor? Good to see you.
Oh, hey, bud. Thanks for having me. Great show.
So let's start at the beginning before we get into the specifics of the back of what's going on the tour right now. Why is the golf swing, generally speaking, so hard on the back?
We talk about the amateur level. A lot of the rotation that needs to happen in order to hit the ball, correctly, the rotation has to happen in the thoracic spine. Okay, and most people don't have that mobility. So what happens is they cheat and they get the rotation from the lower back, the lumbar spine, which it's not meant to do that. Lumbar spine is meant to go forward and back, not rotate. And that's how you get a lot of back issues in recreational golfers. In the pro golfers, it comes down to generating so much speed with a combination of equipment, and chase for power, and just the way the game is being played. Now you're chasing for speed. So eventually what happens if there's any fatigue at the thoracic lumbar spine, thoracic lumbar junction, the area where most injuries happen, then it's going to go down to the lower back. And I think that's what you're seeing out there.
So, yeah, that was going to be sort of my next question. I mean, obviously back injuries, nothing new in golf at the recreational level or the professional level. But is it fair? I mean, it does seem to be happening to guys who are younger and younger. Is that a function of the modern game and the priority for speed?
So you know what, I'll tell you, for every one of those guys, and you guys were talking about Rory before, for every one of the guys that you hear about with the back pain, there's probably 20 guys with back pain playing every week that you don't hear about. Right? Vijay Singh had it his entire career. Tiger had it. Ernie had it. Like so many guys, even going back, always had it. We are seeing the game. It's happening at a younger age, and part of that is two things. One is I think the equipment allows you to hit the ball, really go at it a lot harder, right? Which they couldn't do it before. I mean, if you give these guys hickory shafts, they would not hurt their backs. They'll break the shaft, right? Because the shaft allows them to go so much harder, now you're bringing risk into it, okay? Then you add to that, these guys, I mean, all the guys you mentioned there, these are great athletes who spend hours in the gym. There's a lot of work, mobility to get rotation, and then strength to work on anti-rotation, the brakes, okay? So when you put a combination of strength and the body being able to handle that kind of force, you are really pushing at the edge. And sometimes when you do that, the edge pushes back. And that's what you see. So
in your work with players, how do you go about trying to, obviously you don't want to tell them to swing slower. That's not going to work for their, careers. How do you build programs that try to protect against this?
So like I said, it's two things. One is building a program, a strength and conditioning program that allows you to handle fatigue, handle load back in, back out, week in, week out. But the other way is to screen them. So you can do there are screening programs now which tech that allows you to screen how a player's moving and predict whether or not there's going to be an injury. So if you bring those things in, then you're likely to be able to predict a bad outcome.
Do you feel like this? Can you see a swing and think that's going to give a guy problems? Is it? Can you see it with the naked eye, or is it so dependent on how? I'm thinking of like a Joaquin Neiman, or I'm even thinking of like a Scottie Scheffler, right? Who seems to have incredible ankle mobility to be able to shuffle like that and not twist an ankle. Can you see when you see a swing? Do you ever think, "Ooh, this might give him some issues"?
Yeah, so 100% right. Like there are certain swings when you look at it and you're like, gosh, it's only going to be a matter of time, right? But then you see them in the gym and you see how they're preparing for the body to adapt that load in that direction. And then you're like, oh, okay, you know what? He might be able to just keep going. But the moment there's any fatigue, the moment there's anything that changes, then you're going to run into trouble. And the other thing, with younger golfers, I'm seeing a lot of this in college level and just before college level. It's a bit like in tennis where the injuries are occurring at that age and they're weeding out those players. So the players that are coming into the tour in their 20s, they have survived the time when the injuries are likely to happen. It's a bit like Navy SEALs. You put 1,000 people in, 4 guys survive and they become the Navy SEALs. So it's almost like that right now. Interesting.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it's a problem that's not going away. I want to thank you, Doctor, for joining the show.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You know, we mentioned Scottie on that. I've always said, you know, I feel like one time that ankle's going to go. Obviously, I hope not. But yeah, Scottie was pretty angsty this week.
Oh, yeah.
Surely we can retire the whole Scottie Scheffler is boring narrative. I mean, when he's winning tournaments by 4, I don't think that's boring. That's greatness. And when he's losing tournaments, he's letting you know how he feels about golf. Yeah, he was capital A angsty this week. And it turns out the man takes tremendous pride in his accomplishments and doesn't take very kindly to suggestions that he's lost a step after a few kind of so-so tournaments. So we first saw this at Riviera. Or maybe it was Bay Hill. I think it was Bay Hill. He was asked about his slow starts, and he said, well, you know, last year I led the tour in first round scoring, second round scoring, third round scoring, and fourth round scoring. So I don't think I'm going to change how I approach golf tournaments, which was like a shut the fuck up. I got this. It continued this week into his Tuesday press conference. Let's roll the clip.
Curious, I know you know from speaking to you over the years, you like to keep things pretty simple, but I am curious when you have such a sustained run of success, how you do manage your expectations and whatnot. Obviously, this season probably hasn't gone as well as you like to get going, but what's the trick to keep from forcing it, getting frustrated, whatever, when you've had the run of success you had?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a funny question because if you flipped my season around and it was like, okay, I finished last week, like 24th or something, 24th and 12th, and like 3rd and 4th in a win. Would the question be the same if I was coming from 3rd, 4th win?
No, I understand. But
yeah, so that's my point. Is it's like your expectations of me are living week by week. My expectations of myself is almost more shot by shot.
Funny question is a great euphemism.
It's the nicest. That's a Scottie Scheffler niceism right there. Probably.
That's a really funny question. You know, I don't think he found that question very funny.
You think I'm a funny guy?
Yeah, you think
like a clown?
You trying to be funny right now? But it continued into his play. So we have a couple clips here showing, you know, Scottie. Here was the sarcastic fist pump. I think this was early in the tournament. He did it again on Sunday, given the sort of Woody Austin fake fist pump, then just dropping the club, being completely off balance. He did bounce back. He shot 67 on Saturday. I think he finished tied for 22nd. It was kind of a whatever Sunday. But he was not thrilled with the questions all week, and I enjoyed this pushing back. I think it's fair to push back when you ask questions like this. Let's roll his presser from on, I think it was Saturday.
Is there anything you found in that range session, you know, late on Thursday?
Did I find anything? I think that would imply that I was lost, which was not the case. No, I think I'm always just trying to get a feel for where things are at, and sometimes, you know, a little practice helps, and sometimes a little rest helps.
Did I find anything? He was like, guys, relax here, and I love it. He's pushing back on the hyperbolic, you know, sort of day-to-day cycle of a media center. And it's one of the reasons that I don't stay at golf tournaments really when the tournaments are going on anymore. You wouldn't interview a basketball player after the first, second, and third quarter. They're performing. They don't want to talk to you. Yeah. They just don't. They're focused on recovery.
Well, that's usually what you get from Scottie is like when you're like, oh, did you find anything? He almost his reflex is just to say something nice or be like, yeah, I was working on my short game, or like, I was looking for this, but. I appreciate, like, we've been asking him to be more outspoken. I don't care if it's angsty Scottie. I
love it.
It's interesting.
I thought angsty Scottie was very, very entertaining this week. So there's been a lot of talk about caddies on the PGA Tour, especially last year when we had Looper Island. I remember we did a Looper Island. But players hit the shots. Players are the ones that hit the shots. So Adam Schenk had Paul Tesori on the bag this week. Two of the loveliest guys you'll ever meet. Tesori has caddied on tour for decades. He was with Tom Kim recently, a lot of years with Webb Simpson. Mm-hmm. Considered one of the best caddies in the game. He was on Webb's bag when Webb won the 2018 Players Championship. So as far as caddies go, you couldn't really do much better than Paul Tesori on the bag this week. He missed the cut. Joel Damon had Gino back on the bag this week. Right, one of his best friends, the guy who looped for him for the vast majority of his professional career. Surely a reunion would put a little pep in his step. He missed the cut. And so for all the talk of caddies in recent years, and I'm not saying that caddies can't, add that sort of 1% boost for a player at the top or maybe give him that confidence. If your player can't hit a green with a 7-iron, it doesn't matter who's carrying the bag. Players hit the shots. And sometimes they have to hit shots that are a little creative, like on the 6th hole at the Players this week. I'm into it. I'm into what they're doing with the 6th hole. The overhanging tree. It's a real-life version of Stinger on TGL. I'd love to see more courses adopt this sort of outside-the-box obstacle. The modern professional is better than ever, and with the golf rollback still a couple years away, forcing players to hit their shot through a certain window feels like a pretty innovative way to challenge them. I'm not saying we shouldn't roll back the golf ball. It's a separate conversation. I'm just saying we can be more creative with how we challenge these players. A lot of them like to hit, their high cuts. They like to hit up driver and hit high cut. And if you force them to not be able to do that, whether it's a tree off the left side or it's, in this, I think 13 at Augusta kind of does this too, where you can't really hit a cut super comfortably because of all this.
Create the right shoot.
You got to create the right shoot. We all love watching guys hit shots and change their windows and trajectories. Those are the tracers that get us horny, right?
That's right.
100%. And I think we could do more of that. I think it's an unbelievable obstacle. These are the best players in the world. Force them to fucking move the ball around a little bit.
I like that one too because it's not. I think it's less difficult for them than it looks.
Yeah.
They can all manage it, but it makes them think.
Right. It's a little bit of uncertainty in their head where I can't just hit my stock shot.
If they miss it, if they catch it high on the face, it's going to come in.
Or if they, they try to turn it down too much, you hit a low pull, introducing uncertainty into these players' heads, I think is a positive. And I think the 6th hole is a great.
Watching Jake Knapp play that this week in the practice round was fun.
Really, really fun. Yeah. Check out our video. We did it was like a little walk and talk, kind of an extended range report over on the YouTube channel where we just basically had Alex follow me with the camera through a couple practice rounds. Pretty cool.
A lot of nice nuggets in there.
A lot of nice nuggets, kind of a little diet full swing. How about Akshay saying he wants to post a picture of him broomsticking it without a shirt on? Do it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
We'll see you in Augusta.
Yeah.
Let's do it there.
I don't know if you should take your shirt off at Augusta. I got a new nickname for Jordan Spieth. He's the screenshot golfer. I describe his modern golf game as a bit ratchet. Here's a screenshot from Dylan Chair. Whenever broadcasts cut to a golfer, but you can't actually see the golfer, it's always Jordan Spieth. He'll rip off 5 birdies in a row, and then he'll double bogey a par 5 on his last hole of the day. It's exactly what he did on Friday. Looked like he was getting into the verge of contention, only to flame out with a double and shoot 76. And yeah, I think he shot 76 on Saturday. And yeah, there was a screenshot involved. There's always a screenshot involved. I just want to see him play a 72-hole tournament without a screenshot. It's been years, I feel like. But he did, however, give us a classic response to a question on whether he'd be able to look past that double bogey finish and focus more on the good stuff. Here's Jordan Spieth.
Later today, will you be able to think mostly about the good stuff and sort of set the finish?
Never. Have you ever played golf?
This is an all-time clip.
That is all-time meme.
It's so memeable.
We can use that
I think we have to get that. We have to get that one of the shortcuts here.
Oh, that is a good one.
Starts to play on the show. He's got some company in the screenshot department. Siwoo Kim. He's sort of the Korean screenshot golfer. He's one of my favorite characters on tour. I'm usually drawn to the out there characters. Siwoo's picked up smoking later in life because, in his own words, he's too stressed. He tries to hide his habit the best he can, but he was caught dart-handed in the trees during a long wait on Saturday. And then on Sunday, there was a picture of him warming up with a cell phone. And I think people thought that he was using the cell phone as a alignment tool. I'm pretty damn sure he was watching the Man United game.
I texted you right away. I was like, what's on TV right now?
I'm pretty damn sure that he was watching the Man United game. We love Siwoo. He's the screenshot golfers, their box office. The 9-wood is the new 7-wood. 7-woods used to be cool. You know what's cool? A 9-wood. So the 7-wood became all the rage on tour a couple years ago, quickly found its way into the bags of Matt Fitzpatrick and Dustin Johnson and a bunch of other guys. These high number woods used to be the domain of geriatric golfers. I remember first time I ever went to my wife's grandparents' place, my wife's grandmother's. Was that my grandmother-in-law?
Yeah.
You never really say grandmother-in-law.
You never say that, yeah.
My grandmother-in-law, mishpucha, as we would say in the Jewish faith. She has a plaque. She had a hole-in-one, which I don't have, so she's got that over me. Shout out Grandma Leah. 135 yards, 11 wood.
11 wood.
And it was hilarious. And I posted, it was 11. It was hilarious. We are very, very close to one of the best players in the world having an 11 wood. Because Tommy Fleetwood, who is like the ultimate flusher, Tommy Fleetwood is not old man game. He is not Webb Simpson. This was a 9 wood that he hit on the brutally difficult par 3 8th at TPC Sawgrass. Look at how soft that thing lands.
Beauty.
And he almost hold it. That's a 9 wood. That's a 9 wood. It's only a matter of time until a professional golfer games an 11 wood. And if I said that to you a couple years ago, you just would have laughed in my face.
Well, my question now is, what am I doing with a 5 wood in my bag?
Bro,
if these guys are carrying 9, 7, 11.
I have a driving iron. I have a driving.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I don't know. It's because of the golf course I play. I think, one of the reasons, like, these guys play courses with long rough and super firm greens. So the 7 wood, and I got to say now the 9 wood is great at cutting through the rough. It hits it, and it's good coming into soft greens because you can hit it. So I don't play 7,500 yard courses with rock hard greens, so I don't necessarily need it as much.
They can also create more spin with those than we can. So they can
do it, and they can also take spin off. I mean, my thing is, like, I've been a driving iron guy because I like to hit it, like I like it off the tee. But I think I'm gonna try a 7 wood. I have to. Who am I to stick my nose up at the trend?
I think that clip we just show is reason enough to give it a shot. Right?
Yeah. Yep. All right. We're gonna talk about banners here because Matthias Schmid does not like to tuck his shirt in. It's nothing new, actually. A quick scroll of Getty Images yields photos of him untucking it in Hawaii this year. He's been doing it all year. But he got a lot of TV coverage on Thursday, and you almost have to respect the degaffness. Almost. If you're playing professional golf on TV, you tuck your shirt in. And I'm all for guys pushing the boundaries with their attire. Like, I love what Jason Day does. I love how Keith Mitchell dresses out there. I love what Tony Finau's been doing in the Jordan stuff. But there are certain parameters. You push the boundaries. You don't say, fuck the boundaries. There's a parameter that you stay within, and one of them is tucking your damn shirt in. And I actually reached out to the PGA Tour, and it turns out that tucking your shirt in is actually part of the player regulations. And I was told that it's been addressed with Matthias Schmid, but then he did it again. He didn't tuck, and I don't know if maybe he's got a problem with a belt, but tuck your shirt in. And I'm a guy who has not always tucked his shirt in. I'm not playing on the tour. I'm not playing on the PGA Tour. And whenever I play golf, I tuck my shirt in. It's respect for the game. It's a little bit of manners. It's reverence for the game, and especially in a tournament like this. It's a big tournament. Everyone else is tucking their shirt in. You can tuck your shirt in. You're a fashion guy. What do you think?
I have a hard time with this one because
you're playing on the PGA Tour.
I know what everybody says.
You wear pants too. It's like there's a certain respect.
Again, that one too. It's just like there are so many more disrespectful sartorial things that happen in golf.
Like what?
Like people wearing crazy ass shit that looks, like even some of the stuff that we praise that's like loud is more disrespectful than like not tucking your shirt in. I think tucking your shirt in doesn't mean anything.
I completely disagree.
Anymore. It doesn't stand for anything.
I totally disagree. I think tucking your shirt in is like a respect to the rules. It's a respect to the history of the game. It's a respect to your competitors around you. It's a respect to the broadcast. It's a respect to the people at home.
I'm going to say something that is going to be probably a little mean to a lot of people, but I think people who think tucking your shirt in is dressing up is just people taking a shortcut to not understanding what actually looks good. It's like a cheat code. It's like, oh, if you tuck your shirt in, it's good. You can tuck an awful shirt in and look worse than a guy with an untucked shirt in.
But the question here is not whether you look good or not. I mean, like, I'm sure some of these guys would look good in a fucking wife beater.
What's the point of a dress code?
Well, a dress code is for respect. It's not for looking good.
With how you look.
You can look good. I mean, I'm sure that Jake Knapp would look really good in a wife beater. Doesn't mean he's going to wear it on the PGA Tour. You have to have respect for the audience.
I'm saying my line's different. It's not that far, but it's like, this is one that I support him in. If he's doing it in protest, I support him in protest because I think they could change that byline and the respect for the game would not diminish in a significant way. Like, it's just how I feel.
Yeah, we disagree. That's fine.
We disagree.
That's healthy.
I think it would not change as much as, I don't know why people care so much about this thing.
Because they're asking you to do it and you're willfully breaking a rule. That's disrespectful, I think.
Do you think that like Jason Day wearing the logo on the back of his shirt with the tape over top of it as like a poke at this shouldn't be a regulation either? Like, is that disrespectful too?
It's not the most respectful thing in the world.
I find
that's a bit
like
of whataboutism, though.
No, I find it an equal sort of like subtle, harmless protest against something that, like, I don't know. I guess I'm players' rights on this one. They should just be able to do whatever they want as long as they play that way.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
So t-shirt and shorts.
Sure.
Really?
Sure.
You'd be fine with them wearing a t-shirt and shorts, untucked, playing on the PGA Tour.
As long as I can watch the guy rip around a golf course like nobody else I've ever watched on television, then, like, yeah, sure. If that makes him feel great, if that's what makes him want to play great, makes him feel the best that he can feel, what if Ludvig was? I'm projecting, but what if Ludvig's like a sweatpants guy?
Okay.
And yesterday he was able to wear sweatpants, and like it was the X factor in how it like made him feel comfortable out there, and it stopped him from collapsing. That's very hyperbolic, but I'm using it to make a point. Like,
yeah,
The same way they choose fabrics for certain comfortability and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't dress certain ways to make yourself feel comfortable. I mean, look at the way Jason Day dresses now versus the way he dresses when he was in Nike. Obviously, he likes to dress a certain way. I just think there are certain parameters, certain manners that you should show.
I'll say one last thing and revise my take. They should be given the chance to dress well outside of the rules and look put together outside of the rules. You can look together with an untucked shirt if you do it right. They should be given the chance.
I'm not saying he looks like a schlub out there. I'm just saying that he's not. It's not. I don't think it's respectful to not tuck your shirt in when everyone else is tucking your shirt in.
This is a good. It's a good
back and forth.
Yeah,
we have a. We agree to disagree. We have a promo code though.
Oh yeah.
Manners. Manners Golf looks fantastic, and you can tuck your shirt in and it still looks fantastic.
Everything they make, I would approve on tour.
Yes. So we have a promo code for you guys. Manners Golf, which is the official apparel provider of Dan on Golf. You go to mannersgolf.com. You can look at all the amazing stuff. We have a promo code. If you use the code DOG15, you get 15% off your order, which is pretty significant. 15% is a good discount. I'm wearing the mock neck right now. Within the rules of the game, I would tuck this shit in if I was playing on the PGA Tour. Speaking of the PGA Tour, the on-the-range stuff was nice. Really, really nice this week. So you always know in golf that when the Masters does something, the rest of golf will follow suit a few years later. So Augusta pioneered the every shot on the range coverage, and now it has made its way to the Players' Championship. Now, proper golf sickos can get data not just from the course, but from all the shots hit before and after the 18 holes, and it produced some really cool data to dive through. Shout out to Hutch Golf here. You could see all the different heights, who hit how many balls, what the longest shots were, the different ball speeds.
That's too much for me, but it's still sick.
It's some golf sicko shit. I mean, we talked last week about the sprinkler systems. This is some more golf sicko shit. And one thing that Rolapp made clear is that he wants every PGA Tour event to be as big as the Players. That means iconic courses, that means huge crowds, and that means increased coverage. We talked about how many fucking cameras there were this week. They had a camera absolutely everywhere. There was a 4K camera in the scoring tent. So that with Xander Schauffele looking up, and it was like
true.
it was crystal clear HD, but more technology, more coverage, more iconic courses. It's what the players want. It's what the fans want, and the players want. I would suspect. Speaking of players, we're through 3 signature events and the players, so it feels like a fair time to put a few guys officially on the struggle bus watch. JJ Spaun leads the list. So this was always going to be an interesting year. He was a journeyman pro before last year, lost in the playoff to Rory at the Players' Championship, and then a major champion, won at Oakmont. It was always going to be, what's the norm? Was before that year the norm? Was after that year the norm? It's still very early. The majors are still all to play, but it hasn't been very good so far. His results, T40, miscut, T45 out of 78 at Pebble. I can't wait to not have to say that shit anymore. A T45 is just going to be a T45. Yeah. A miscut, and then a tie for 24th. So his best finish of the year, but still not a great season so far for JJ Spaun. Ben Griffin had a similar glow up last year, 3 victories, a Ryder Cup appearance. When we had him on the show at Pebble Beach, he admitted that his expectations of himself has changed. Like a tie for 15th finish doesn't hit the same way that it used to. And yet his best finish this year was a T19 against a so-so field at the Sony Open. He missed the cut this week. Michael Kim made over $4.1 million on the PGA Tour last year. He just missed the Tour Championship. He finished 31st. He also won in Europe, got to world number 35, qualified for the Masters. His results so far this year, tie for 31st, miscut, tie for 18th, 72nd out of 78 at Pebble Beach, so we won't have to say that anymore. T33 and a miscut. Max Homa, the wheels just keep spinning. I feel like he's working his ass off. He's doing all the right things, but the results just aren't there yet. His results so far this year, T27, miscut, T66, T37, T13, T32. The battle continues. And then there's Shane Lowry, who had one hand on the Cognizant Classic Trophy a few weeks ago, and he blew a chance to win the Dubai Invitational, his first event of the year in January. That brutal scene at PGA National was always going to be tough to come back from. And he said he wanted so desperately to win that week because his 4-year-old daughter was in attendance, and he never won in front of her, and he choked it away. He missed the cut at Bay Hill, and he had a decent round going on Thursday at Sawgrass till he made a quad on 18, and then he missed the cut. So
I got to say, I feel like of all those guys, outside of Shane being the obvious, Ben Griffin actually surprises me falling off as much as he
thought he had some. I thought the aura was like, he seemed like he was carrying himself like a top 10. But
it felt real.
There's still so much time.
There's
still so much time, totally. But we haven't even gotten through one major yet, but it's not been good so far. All right, we're going to hop into the Knockaround, presented by Knockaround. This whole show is Dan on Golf, presented by Knockaround. got the Mary Janes on. These were fantastic all week. You've got the Panoramas on, kind of the unofficial sunglass of Dan on golf. So we're going to do a little look around the world of golf outside of Ponte Vedra Beach. We also have a promo code, though, for these. If you use the promo code DanOnGolf20, you get 20% off your sunglasses. You just got to stop spending stupid money on sunglasses. I had someone who came up to me today, and they said, or on the weekend, and they said, I lost my sunglasses. I'm pissed off. I said, well, yeah, it's because you probably spent stupid money on them. These sunglasses are $35. If you use our promo code, brings them down to under 30. You could also buy 3, 4, 5 of these for the same price as one of the other guys. Get some variety in your life. Knockaround.com/golf. Look at all of the sunglasses. Use the promo code DanOnGolf20. You get 20% off. Bryson DeChambeau won LIV Singapore after Canadian Richard T. Lee, who actually qualified for LIV through the promotions event. He bricked a 3-footer in a playoff. He made $2.25 million, so that's definitely he's fine. There was a viral clip bouncing around the internet of Bryson. I guess people thought they were bugs. I think they were birds. They were birds. It looked like a scene from the Alfred Hitchcock movie Birds, like they were swarming, and Bryson had this crazy lie where the ball was above his feet, and he swung and he fell into the bunker, and everyone was trolling him and said, you know, kind of drawing the contrast between that and there was no real fans there versus the scene at TPC Sawgrass. The undertone there being, you know, Bryson would rather be at the Players. I have no doubt that's true for a lot of guys on LIV. I don't think Bryson gives a shit. I think he's happy where he is, and he won a bunch of money. And interesting to see if those sleeves come back. You know, does he keep the sleeves for
They make his arms
Augusta?
look even bigger than they are.
They are big. Sage Valley Junior Invitational was this week. And the best junior in the country, Miles Russell, who's headed to Florida State, won the prestigious Sage Valley Junior Invitational with a 15 under total, good for a 3-shot win over the consensus number 2 player, Tyler Watts, who's headed to Tennessee. In third place was Mason Howell, who's headed to Georgia, the reigning U.S. amateur champion. So a pretty box office leaderboard at the Sage Valley Invitational. Charlie Woods shot 26 over to finish last in the field. We're not commenting on that. It's just a fact. Hannah Green won her second tournament in March with a 2-shot triumph at the Australian Open in Adelaide, becoming the first Australian to win her National Open since Kari Webb in 2014. So good stuff there for Hannah Green. She's obviously playing very well. Keegan Bradley's still feeling it. I should have put him on the struggle bus. He's really not having a good year. Made the cut this week, battled to make the cut. I think he shot 4 or 5 under on Friday to sneak in. But I found this very interesting. They asked him about the Ryder Cup, and he's still feeling it. Let's hear from Keegan. We got the Keegan clip?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been a little difficult. I'm still heartbroken from the Ryder Cup, so trying my best to separate myself and move on, but it's hard. I think about it a lot. I think about the guys a lot, and you know, I'm still in the process of getting past all that.
Is it regret or just like, are you feeling regret, or is it more just like just hanging around?
No, it's just unless you're a captain of the Ryder Cup team, you just have no idea what goes into it and the emotional toll that it takes on you. And I think, like, you know, a lot of guys that do it, they're basically done playing, so they never, again, I'm like the first person to have to sort of deal with this, get back out there, try to, you know, be one of the best players in the world and make the next team. So I'm still navigating how to do that, but it's on my mind.
It's the danger of being a Ryder Cup captain. It can go poorly.
It's a danger of also putting the biggest Ryder Cup fan in the history of the Ryder Cup in the captaincy and then having him lose. He's going to get asked about it for more than just the year afterward.
Yeah, big time. More golf content. So Stick Season 2 is coming out in a few months here. Also, Full Swing coming out very shortly. There's going to be a new Netflix show about golf with Will Ferrell called The Hawk. This summer, a legend returns. His name, Lonnie the Hawk Hawkins. I think this is going to be like, I feel like he's going to be like an Eastbound and Down character.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm hearing good things. We have some connections in the production there.
Do we?
Heard of
Is Chad's a producer?
Chad helped produce it, yeah.
I'm excited for that one. I saw a lot of guys, they clearly did like some sort of like seeding guerrilla marketing thing where they had a bunch of guys in that outfit at the Players Championship.
I love the low crown visor on Hawk.
Yeah, it's great. Hawk is a very good nickname. Phil Mickelson set to make his season debut in South Africa. He missed the first 4 live events dealing with a personal issue. It's good to have Lefty back. Glad that he is playing. That was the Knockaround presented by Knockaround. How about our dog of the week? Our dog of the week is Sudarshan Yelamaraju. And there's always a breakout performance on big weeks, and this one was from 24-year-old PGA Tour rookie Sudarshan Yelamaraju, who shot 66, 68 on the weekend. And this guy's path to the PGA Tour is hardly a common one. Born in India, moved to Canada at age 4, never had a proper golf lesson growing up. He learned the game on YouTube, and he honed it on a driving range. Got through the Korn Ferry Tour last year to play on the PGA Tour. Shot 66, 68 on the weekend to finish tie for 5th and take home a cool $925,000. His earnings on tour heading into this week were around $358,000. So you know what Sudarshan was saying on Sunday night?
What did I say for you? Tell them to bring me my money.
He talked about what this can do for his career after the round. Let's hear from Sudarshan.
I know I can compete and contend, but I have a lot of belief in myself, but that results-based confidence is something that you just can't match. So once you do something, it's like, you can do that or better. So obviously wherever I finish, I know I can do that and then kind of move up from there.
It's fun to watch big name stars win and change the narrative. It's also fun to watch a player's life and their career change before our eyes. We got that with Sudarshan. He withdrew this morning from the Valspar Championship. Baller move. I don't know if he's going to Miami or what it is, but you got to stop and smell the roses sometimes. So I have absolutely no issues with a life-changing week and just enjoy it for a little bit.
It's not the Seminole Pro member. It's the Valspar.
That's true. That is very true. So he's our dog of the week, but it could have easily been Rick Gehman. We are going to bring on Rick Gehman because this guy, he hit on Cameron Young 30-1. Just victory lap? Do you have anything to say for yourself on how fucking beautiful you are?
Hey, listen, this is I won't victory lap it because that always comes back to bite you pretty quickly in this world. But yeah, listen, it is not necessarily how I envisioned it happening. I thought Ludvig was pretty much in control of that tournament as it got going. But it was nice to see that a lot of the stuff that has been paying off for Cam and a lot of the decisions that he's made have turned into really good results. He's been fantastic, and he stepped up and hit some unbelievable shots down the stretch.
It's what a diplomatic answer. It's not about me. It's about the player. I thought you were going to show up with some dollar signs in your hand. And
nah,
in the long game.
Listen. Yeah, I've been around a long time, man. There's ebbs and flows to this. It's all good.
Not too high, not too low. Let's bring up that graphic again, though. We are now up. This is the thing about Give Me a Winner. You got to stick with Rick the whole damn season because we're going to get big wins like this. We got it plus 3,000. So we are now up. If you just trail Rick, you're up 34 units in 2026 with a profit of $3,425 on $100 bets. Good job, Rick. All right, talk to me about Innisbrook, one of the trickier golf courses out there.
Yeah, it is tricky. A little bit different than some of the other Florida courses that we've seen aesthetically. It's not as much water in play, but still plenty compared to tour averages. And what I think is always interesting about it is everything really wants to pinch in at like 290, 300 yards and brings in a lot of trouble right there. You have to be fairly accurate off the tee, and there's four par fives out there, but only 3 of them play under par. So they're not even real scoring opportunities. We've seen 11 under par be the average winning score in the last 3 years. It's tough. You got to scramble. You got to keep your ball in play. I like accurate drivers. I like putters. It's kind of very different than what we saw from last week.
With that in mind, who is our pick to win the tournament?
We're going to roll with Jacob Bridgman here, guys. So this is a top-heavy field, in my opinion. I think after the first 20 players, it gets pretty weak after that. But Bridgman in 2026 has gained more strokes to the field than anybody. He's gaining nearly 2 strokes per round, and he's doing it a lot with the putter. So it's about a stroke and a half with the putter. But he's turned into a really solid tee to green player, and with a T18 being his worst finish, I think he's really a gamer. I did get to see him hit a bunch of shots out here last week at TPC Sawgrass. He hits it so straight, it pierces the wind. It's a pretty impressive player. I think he could contend this week.
Yeah, and Brad Faxon was just gushing over his putting on the weekend, which it's good. All right, give us a top 10 pick.
I'm going to Brooks Koepka here. I think he's a solid top 10. I think he's a reasonable one-and-done option for this week. He has just knocked the cover off the ball. We've talked about how he is tee to green. He's been fantastic. The storyline has just been how good or how bad the putter has been, and he started to right the ship there, right? So over the last 8 rounds, he's gained a stroke and a half on the putting surfaces. So basically, a barely more than tour average, but that right there has turned into a 9th and a 13th. So you've got 2 strong finishes without him really doing all that much with the putter. weaker field, good golf course for him. We haven't seen him here in a handful of years, but he finished 12th here in 2022. Koepka's like, I think a very, very live option to win. I have him for a top 10.
All right, and then finish this out with a top 20 pick.
Yeah, so Austin Smotherman, I think it's a name we have to get used to here. You know, he is a ball striking maniac. The only thing that he struggles with is the putter, but his 8 rounds here at Innisbrook, he's gained with the flat stick. There's this interesting thing going on where there's like 4 top players in tee to green play in this field. It's Brooks, it's Fitzpatrick, it's Smotherman, and it is somebody else I'm missing, but they are like head and shoulders above everybody else. There's a huge gap between those guys and everybody else in the field. And like I said, I think it starts to fall off after that, but I definitely include Smotherman in the mix.
Smotherman Brotherman.
My brother.
I love that
Smotherman,
name. Well, Rick, you're a hero. Keep doing the good work. If Bridgman wins this week, we'll just keep doing the show. I don't know if anything's going to change, but it's going to be awesome if it happens.
Yeah, it'll be the same thing. Yeah.
Good
It'll be very sick.
Good shit,
All
my
right,
dude.
guys,
Good
having
stuff.
fun. See ya later.
All right, Ben. Time for his own dog race.
Time for his own dog race. Hey, big news from our friends at Zone we learned this week.
What's the big news?
New jalapeno lime, which has quickly become my favorite flavor of Zone. It's going to be nationwide soon.
Nationwide. Show them.
Pretty crazy, huh?
Nationwide. It was only at that Circle K in Scottsdale.
Only at Circle K in Scottsdale. I think it's either end of March, I want to say. But don't quote me on that yet. But very, very soon, nationwide. Try one of these, man. They taste like a margarita in your lip. It's crazy. All right. So this week for the dog race, I was reflecting on how much fun we have on Sundays.
We do have fun on Sundays.
And, the reason that I love it is just because, like, you're the perfect person to hang around and watch golf with.
Yep.
You know a lot.
That's really nice.
You teach me a lot while we're doing it. You understand where I'm coming from. You correct me when I don't know ball.
Yeah.
I want to know who your ideal tour pro would be to hang around and just talk shop and watch golf with, whether it's filmed or not.
Okay.
But
Sure.
let's say that it's filmed. Let's just make it the watch along.
Okay.
Who's joining you every week instead of me?
Okay.
I'm starting off with one of your friends and someone who loves content. So tough one to choose between Keegan Bradley and Bryson DeChambeau.
Oh, well, if we're filming it, Bryson. I mean, the guy brings views in his sleep. And I don't want to. I feel like with Keegan now, when you're talking to Keegan, it's like there's an elephant in the room. Yeah, I don't want that. I'm going Bryson.
We're going with Bryson. Okay, Bryson or someone who's going to bring maybe a little more theatrics to the table. Justin Rose.
Oh, Jay Rose is a thespian.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, he goes up and down, ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. I'll go with Jay Rose. He's a sage, he's seen a lot.
Okay. We're sticking in the content kind of world here. You can take Ashtray over Jay Rose?
No, I'm sticking with Jay Rose.
Okay.
With the caveat being that if Ashtray takes his shirt off to show us that he's not anchoring his putter, then it would be Ashtray. But I don't think he's going to do that live on the stream, so we'll go with Justin Rose.
Jay Rose or Saad Theegala? Just a great hang in general.
Yeah, Saad, nicest guy in the world. Yeah. Just the nicest guy in the world. I feel like he would build me up, which is important. I feel like you do a really good job of that. I'm going with Saad. I think you'd be a great wingman.
All right, we're going to go from a guy who would definitely build you up to a guy that loves breaking you down. Colin Morikawa or Saad Theegala?
Colin. California guy. Like that he's not afraid to mix it up. I feel like he would put me in my place a lot. He does like to comment on things that I say and do.
Yeah.
We're going with Colin.
Okay. Colin or JT?
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
I'd say JT. I feel like JT is still a really big name. And he's very, he's gotten into the golf course design business now with Panther National. He's
probably got a broadcast.
Yeah, he's friends with Tiger Woods, which I feel like, Tiger just texted. Imagine you're just sitting with and you just see you're on CarPlay, we're driving to something and you just see Tiger Woods pop up. That'd be pretty sick.
That is cool. It'd also be cool if he was on the watch along and he's like, I just got a text from Tiger that says this, like watch along exclusive potential.
Yeah,
pretty
big watch along exclusive potential.
All right, you and JT or New Xander? I'm calling him because he's lively and funny nowadays and not angsty.
I'm going with JT. I feel like Xander would just oversleep. He don't give a shit about content.
He would Luke Kwan you.
Yeah, every time I see him, I ask him, hey, have you seen this? He's like, nope. So I'm going with JT.
All right. JT or the ultimate analyst, in my opinion, Phil Mickelson?
Phil. Yeah. I think Phil would have been perfect for that chair, the one that Kevin Kisner's in or the one that Trevor Immelman's in. Obviously, some things have transpired where that's probably not going to happen anymore. But Phil talking golf is that clip of him in the leather jacket.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
The yardages. Yeah, if we could recreate that, that would be incredible.
I'm holding out hope that can come to reality here. Okay, you can take Phil or you can take AK, who would just be someone you would hope would go into 8 playoff holes. So you could just keep talking to him.
I would say Phil.
Okay.
I would say Phil. I think AK. I have tremendous respect for what he's done, what he's overcome in his career. But I'm sticking with Phil. It's hard to beat Lefty as an analyst.
Hard to beat Lefty. Happy to have Phil win this week's dog race. I'm a big Phil guy.
He's back.
And a big Liv guy, as you know.
He's back. It works. Before we leave you guys, we're going to talk a little bit more. Oh, no, we have Chirps from the gallery. Chirps from the gallery. Big week from the gallery. Let's start with Joel and Gino. Christopher Powers, who had a mega week. Mega week. Probably exchanging numbers for down the road. Yeah, these guys, the first time working together, see if they know each other. This guy, our next one is just a rage tweet. This guy is always so angry.
Oh my God.
Just so Michael Griffin. And I said, I want to have him on the show. I don't think so. I think I'd be afraid of what I find. Saw at the gala, double on 6, no game, fuck off, go home. Jeez. Call the gambling hotline. Clearly, there's something.
We should make one.
There is one. There's a gambler's hotline, like for addicted to gambling. He needs to call it because he's got a problem. There was a lot of chatter about Bam Adebayo's 83-point game, and if it, potentially was kind of fakakta in the way that it went down. There was obviously a golf comparison here. Justin Ray, great round, but Bam did it on a par 70. That's a niche joke. You just kind of have to know. Siwoo Kim, adorable child. Was coughing on the microphone, which I think for a week like this was the tournament where everything went wrong with COVID, where the whole Rudy Gobert situation.
It's Rudy.
Maybe after I won, right after I won. So I saw them at reels, and every time they that
was 3. I didn't realize there was 3 coughs right in the microphone. We've come a long way. We've come a long way since COVID, but he's very cute. Commentators and pilots have something in common, Ben.
What's that?
Do you know what it is?
No.
They both like to talk about wind.
Oh, yeah.
From Robbie Callan, golf commentators are second only to pilots in terms of people who love talking about wind conditions. Another one from Chris Powers. Ludvig Aberg did kind of a first down situation, and Chris was quick to it. 5'9" wide receivers after gaining 3 yards on a 3rd and 3 bubble screen. They just give him that first down. First down. There was a lot of chatter about Tiger Woods' plane landing at Augusta. People were super excited about it. Oh, is Tiger going to play Augusta? The Sage Valley Junior Invitational took place about 30 minutes away from the Augusta Regional Airport. I think that's basically the carpool line.
That's what you said. Pickup line.
It's a school pickup line. You want to hop on the plane?
Come on, Charlie.
Last, Joel Damon. So Joel Damon was, living large the last couple of weeks. Played at Bay Hill. Played at the Players Championship. Took an Uber to the Monday qualifier this morning. From API and the Players to Ubering to a Monday qualifier. Hashtag play better. That's what I love. He's not salty. He's like, if I just would have played better, this wouldn't have been an issue. All right, before we leave you guys, we'll talk a little bit more about Zone Nicotine. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, underage sale prohibited. As you know by now, golf's all about having the right club for the right situation. The same goes for Zone Nicotine pouches, offering a variety of bold flavors available in strengths of 6 milligrams and 9 milligrams. Whether you're a fan of dragon fruit, like me, or mint, citrus, subtle, or spicy, like the jalapeno lime, you're sure to find intensity and flavor that lasts. Do you want Zone nicotine pouches at a discount mailed right to your door? You probably do. Get 20% off at nicokick.com/zone. That's NICOKICK.com/zone when you use promo code DanOnGolf20. Before I leave you with the clip of the week, a quick programming note. I'm going to Japan. I'm going to Japan on Friday, family trip. The boys are going to take a little spring break. So the guys who work so hard on this show, all the guys in the control room, Andy, whose name I just forgot, Ben, Alex Bush, Ryan Armstrong, Carl Barron, Josh Driggs, we're giving them a week off. So we're going to do the Wednesday show, and then I leave on Friday for Japan. So there will be no watch along this weekend, and there will be no shows next week. We're going on spring break. We're going to come back rested and refreshed for the Masters. We're going to leave you, as we always do, with our clip of the week. I love this guy. Connor Moore. One of my goals in my career is for Connor Moore to do an impression of me.
Let's go.
Alan Shipnuck is included in this. Try and see for our audio audience. This guy does impressions of golfers. Try to see how many you can identify without seeing it. I love you guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.
All right, so we're going to see how many players I can do at the Players. Yeah, look, I mean, it's pretty tough this week trying to play with a bad back. No, I may not be one of the players, but I am a great player, Nobody knows more about golf than me, right? Wow, this is just awesome. It's the Players. It's Sawgrass. I mean, wow, I love it. Yeah, look, I think you gotta love Florida with all its snakes, alligators, and spatters.